Hey, my friends, welcome back to your high performance GPS training. And finally, we hit the rubber with the road, whatever that weird statement is, rubber in the road. I don't know however that goes, but here's the deal. We've been talking a lot about goal attainment. We've talked about project management. We've talked about priority evaluation. I just spent an entire session with you talking about your month and your week and the blocks of time that must exist on those things. If these don't exist on your month and your week, it's like you will always be capable of succeeding, but you will never be capable of succeeding at your highest levels of potential and progress and joy with life. Because it means you're not protecting your free time, your family time. It means you're not doing research to get ahead. It means you're not actually creating things that create momentum and progress in your life. It means that you're not taking care of your body. It means that you're not taking care of your team. Without doing those blocks from the last session, all of this is just playing with the to-do list, and that would be a tragedy. So, please, if you have not watched the last module in this course, watch it. It will benefit you. I would argue that last module I did, you should listen to that, download the MP3 that comes with the course, listen to it a dozen times. Make your family listen to it, make your team listen to it, get it in their heads, and you will see massive momentum in all areas of your life. Okay, with that, I want to give you a mindset for entering every single day. I want to give you a tool for managing the day. And then I want to give you a strategy or a thought process for managing the moment. So this is your mind, this is what to do, and this is how to think. Okay, that's what we're going to cover in this session. First and foremost, there's a reason some people excel beyond others. And it is not because they are from a specific place, they have a specific background, they're lucky, have a spoon in the mouth, because you and I both know people from all the advantages in the world. They have all the reasons to succeed beyond everyone else, but they don't. They crash and burn. And most often it's how they are managing their mind and their relationships and their approach to growth, like we talked about, primary aspiration theory. Well, how can you manage your mind to be more successful each day? Number one, the first thing I'm going to remind you, I talked about it in the last session too, you must have the mentality that says, I own this day. This day is mine. This day has only so many minutes and so many hours, and I am the one who gets to choose how I'm going to spend the majority of that. I'm going to choose whether I'm going to be an impulse-driven, reactive person, or I'm going to be a person with higher levels of intention. I'm going to choose how I react to the world. Because look, I can react from a place of negativity, or I can choose to own my role in the world as a separate causal agent, if you will, in the psychology, that, you know what? I can regulate my own behavior. I can regulate my own emotion. I can regulate my next action. I can regulate what to focus on. I can regulate how I decide I'm going to spend my next few moments. I can regulate whether I'm patient or impatient. You get to choose. And the greatest gift of life is that ability to have our own free will and to experience and enjoy the moments of life. The challenge is so many people give that away. They play victim to their schedule, they play victim to their team, they play victim to their marketplace, they play victim to their industry, they play victim to their kids, they play victim to last week, the week before, the month before, their professors, their parents, they play victim in the economy, whatever. They wake up in the day and they're just like, oh, here's another day. Without any ownership and responsibility that by their consistent choices and by their own conditioning over a period of time, that they have set up the real circumstances of their immediate life. Doesn't mean that some of us have grown up without struggle. Doesn't mean that some people are living in crappy situations. I remember when I was bankrupt and broke and couldn't afford a burrito in San Francisco. You know what? That's a pretty expensive burrito, by the way. It's like $8 for a burrito in San Francisco. I never forget that. But I can share with you this. We all have struggles. We all have difficulties. My question to you, when you wake up, are you going to own that day or not? Like whatever, it doesn't mean that crap won't happen. Don't mean the kids might get sick. Doesn't mean somebody doesn't derail you. Doesn't mean your boss isn't a jerk. Doesn't mean that you might not get in an argument. What I mean is, Are you taking accountability and ownership for your life? Are you in command and deciding to be that? Or are you letting everything else run over you as an excuse? That's an important thing to question. And it's not about thinking we have to control everything or that we're the masters of the universe. Look, man, God's got a bigger plan than any of us does. And look, fate, universe, chaos, whatever you call it, it's going to interrupt your life. There's things that are going to happen that you did not see and anticipate in the moment. There's going to be emergencies and troubles. The question is, over an enduring set of time, over the long term, more often than not, are you choosing to own your role in life? Are you choosing to own your behaviors? Are you choosing to own the reality of your life? And I can share with you the simple switch in someone's mindset that says, you know what? I'm going to own this day. I'm going to decide this day how I react to things. I'm going to decide this day what I decide I'm going to move forward on and what I focus on. Not let everybody else decide it for me. I'm going to start making more decisions for myself than just being blown by the wind, because you know what? I want to end up somewhere in my life that I have determined. I want to experience a quality of life where I'm proud of who I am, where I lived alive and vibrant. I want to end up in a place where I have deep and meaningful relationships. I've created a legacy of good contributions and work. I want to be a person of excellence, and I want to know I enjoyed it. And that's going to require me to own it. So, how have you been waking up the last week? How's the last month been for you? How's the last 6 months? Are you just getting up and going, oh, here we go again, and going through your routine without any strength and command and presence and ownership? Or have you been showing up? Because that's the fundamental mentality that makes all of this stick. If we can't get you to wake up and go, this is my day. I'm going to own this day. I'm going to bring the best of who I am to this day because I command me. I am in charge of me today. I'm in charge of my schedule. Even if I don't like those things, I'm going to choose how I'm going to show up in those things. Maybe I don't like my job right now, but I like myself enough to show up and give. I might not like this situation I'm in right now, but I like my life enough, I feel blessed enough, I feel grateful enough to show up with a full vitality because I know that tomorrow I might not even get the chance to be breathing. That this blessed moment requires ownership. And if you can get that in your head each day, you'll start passing people. They'll be amazed. They're like, man, what's up with you? You might have the same job as them, but you're showing up different than them. That's from the ownership mentality. If you need a hit of that, read the Motivation Manifesto all day long. Ladies and gentlemen, number 2, intention over impulse. Very similar, very related. But I want you to hear this. It's very important. I want you, as you approach each day, to realize that you're going to have impulses to do stupid things. That your first reaction to almost everything is usually not the right reaction. Because unless it was a reaction chosen, a response chosen by conditioning and will, then it's just the immediate thing. Someone cuts you off and you're like, and you drive up next to them, you scream at them, you flip them off, you unroll the window, you scream at them, you try to cut them off, you get a little closer to their bumper, you honk at them. That's called the impulse of a child. We need to not be that, okay? We need to say, you know what? I am going to stop letting my impulses that say, hey, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I know I have a lot of things I'm supposed to do. I have that goal to write that book, to accomplish that project, to write that thing, to make this amazing thing happen into life. I know I have lots of responsibilities and obligations and bills to pay, but you know, they just rolled out the whole season of Game of Thrones. And hey, I got a bag of potato chips here too. I think I'm going to follow that impulse. And then what ends up happening? You're behind. Then what ends up happening? The rest of the night, you hate yourself. You're like, I know I was supposed to do this, and my dreams are important to me, but you know, I just went with that whim. And I'm all good about whims. I'm all good about following intelligent intuition. I'm not about following the impulses that are the smaller parts of ourselves speaking up for favor of distraction. That smaller parts of ourselves that are saying, well, I don't think I should do that because people might not like that, or I could be vulnerable, or that smaller part of ourselves that is fearful. There's all those impulses that say, quit early. all the impulses that say you're not good enough, all the impulses that say I have no idea, this will definitely not work out, all those impulses that say stop when your dreams say come on, man, you got to let those go now. You got to recognize those impulses of weakness that come up, be aware of them, recognize them, and say, you don't get to win today because I have intention for my life. I have intention of how I want to be and what I want to give and interact with others. This is important, and I know you know that because too often your impulse allows you to be impatient with the kids when you know the intention is to be a solid father or mother. You know too often the impulse is to, well, this is getting hard, so I'll quit, because the impulse says favor comfort and ease over effort and challenge. But the intention must be there. One of the reasons I knew when I started working with the Oprah Winfrey Network, as an example, when I first got that call from the Oprah team and they wanted to do one of my online courses with them, I knew I would love them, because when I went in the meeting, they started the meeting. This is their sort of organizational philosophy. They start all the meetings with, what's our intention here? And I was like, these are my people. I love intentional people because they're the ones who give beyond their impulses. They're the ones who do a better job than anyone else, because everyone else who goes, it's good enough, they're the ones who stay an extra hour on it. Doesn't mean that they're workaholics. It just means that the person who has intention, they're going to put a little more fire and focus and force and ferocity into making something that's better than their first whim. It's the artist who comes back to they finish the sculpture and their impulse says, it's good enough. And then they can't help it. They wake up at night and they're back in the studio messing with the mud. You know what I'm talking about. It's like that person who their intention is higher than their impulses, and that's why they succeed. So I want you to develop that mindset that says, I'm going to be an intentional person. Read The Power of Intention by our late, great master, Wayne Dyer, person who made a tremendous difference in my life, and I hope to carry on his message in some ways, telling all of my audiences around the world, please keep reading Wayne Dyer. Please keep reading the classics. Please go back and get yourself some Maya Angelou. Please go back, get yourself some Jim Rohn and Dale Carnegie and Earl Nightingale. Come on, don't forget about Zig Ziglar and Stephen Covey. We've got some people who have allowed us to be more intentional, willful, strong, confident, loving humans. Study their work, live a life of intention, not impulse, and you will be happier. From that mental frame, I'm going to do better at everything I do. When I walk into this studio, you can't see, there's a door right behind you. When I walk in, I set an intention that I'm going to have fun today. Often I'll shout out, it's video day! Whether I say it out loud or it's in my mind, I'm just setting an intention. I'm going to be playful and enjoy this process. Because you know what? It would be easy for me, with all the things going on in my life, to show up in my day and be like, I got to do this thing. But I'm setting an intention to have joy, to bring playfulness, to enliven my passions. Those things don't happen naturally over a period of time for people without will, volition, consistency, discipline, the mindset towards growth and living an extraordinary quality of life. These things help me be better at the to-dos. Does that make sense? These things are where the transformations are, not in the to-dos. To-dos are making things happen. The transformations in life are intangible. C, I guess you call it. Slow time. This is a concept, I know if you guys read the Motivation Manifesto, you love this one. This was Oprah's favorite chapter in the Motivation Manifesto, Declaration number 9, I shall slow time. What happens for too many people is their days are gone. Their schedule, as we'll talk about, is full, but they never felt the day. They never felt life, and so they're busy, but not alive. They're busy, but not appreciative. And they're busy, but not mindful. You know what I'm talking about? And what I've learned I would say, probably one of the most influential lessons I have learned in 20 years of my life is to slow down moments purposefully. You know, I remember when I first moved to San Francisco, my first big job out of college, I went to the University of Montana. I'm a Montana boy, as many of you guys know. Grew up in Butte and Conrad, Great Falls, went to Missoula for school, had life-changing experiences that led me here today. But I remember I moved to San Francisco, and I was so excited to go to the Golden Gate Bridge. And man, I made sure I parked as far away. I didn't go to the parking lot where you can park, you know, right next to the bridge. I went up the valley a little bit so I could hike back and I could see it and walk down to it. And I did all this work, and I got there, and I was so excited. I was a photographer too. I love taking pictures, and I would set up this perfect shot, and I would just take that shot, and I just sat there. And I remember I was so broke back then. I had you know, what do they call it? It was not even what's the cheap bag? It's not even a Ziploc bag. It's the cheap sandwich bag, you know, with the fold-over plastic. You know what I'm talking about, the sandwich bag. I had one of these things, and all the peanut butter and jelly was all slopped over the outside because it didn't zip. I think you know what I'm talking about. So I had one of these things literally in my bag, and I'm sitting there. I'm just eating this peanut butter jelly sandwich, looking at the Golden Gate Bridge, and just taking it all in. It was like time was barely moving, just barely clicking by. It's just like you felt in that moment where you connected with somebody and you kind of fell in love, and it seems like time stopped. Man, I remember sitting there. And then I saw this guy come up with his family. Marshal up his family, put them all in line, stand there, screams at them, click, got back at the car, and they left. And I thought, what a different quality of life. If you'd taken 3 seconds and said, hey kids, turn around, look at this. And just let them absorb it. But that's a metaphor of what's happening in life. Everyone's going around, they're taking quick clicks of the scene and never being in the scene. They're never feeling and experiencing life. Look, it's not that people are like, well, you don't understand. My wife and I don't connect anymore. I ain't got any time. I'm like, well, how much time did you have? What do you mean? Wait, we don't have any time anymore. I go, okay, well, what's happening in the time you have together? But there I see, sitting at the table, they're on their phones. They're looking off into here. They're not even talking. There's no engagement. If you want to experience a day that matters, you have to slow down the moments that matter. You need to take it in. It's like, you know, just like in an emergency where everything happens in slow motion, we can choose to have that same slow motion, but not from a place of emergency, but from a place of awareness and peace. And that's what we have to do. I always like to, when I'm sitting down at lunch or I'm out and about in the town, I just like to watch things and just take it all in. You know, I like to, if someone's, Brendan, you got to see this video. It's so beautiful. I'm the first guy to watch it and cry and get all emotional about it because that's just living, you know. And we're all going so fast trying to do these to-dos, and I'll get to those, I promise you. It's just that if all we're doing is knocking off the checklists, doing the do's, dropping off the kids, doing the same routine, but we never imbue the moment with meaning, well, then we never experience at the end what we wanted to, a meaningful life. A meaningful life, a fulfilling life, a happy life is architected on the foundations of now. Here. That's it. Everything matters right now. And if we can't learn to slow down life and experience the beauty, even if we're on a quick walk around the block of the office, because I told you every 50 minutes to get up and stretch your legs a little bit, and you're walking around and you see the garden there, it's a tiny little garden, because you're in New York City or San Francisco, and they got a tiny little box at the door, pause and look at the dang thing. Take a nice deep breath of that fresh air and continue on in the day. If you see someone do somebody nice, slow it down, watch it, replay it in your mind, appreciate it. It's like taking moments and making them slow and then making them a memory. That's what I call slow time. I think the world has lost a lot of this. I think it's why that declaration, and frankly why Manifesto did 30 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, is currently the best-selling motivation book of the decade. Why? That guy right there. people realized we lose motivation, we lose life when we lose the moment. Next, mindset for me, bring the joy. You see it on my canteens at my events. It's my statement, it's my phrase, it's my trademark, it's my joy, it's my life. It's change the energy around you to put more joy into it. Don't just allow negativity to be around you, transform it. You are responsible for the energy that you experience on a day-to-day basis. You're responsible for those energies that you bring into the world. You're responsible for the energy that you take in from the world. Don't let those little mirror neurons in your prefrontal left cortex fire in such a way that all of a sudden, all you do is mimic and imitate all the energy around you. Because I don't know about you, but I said it in my book, The Charge, the emotional energy of the world is flatlining. A deep negativity, a situation where the world is drowning in its own pools of pessimism. And what we have is people forgetting, you know what? Bring positivity in the day. If you walk up to 5 people, yeah, you might be able to see their energy and let their energy be, not try to take over it or anything. But by the time you leave, you know that you could let that energy be exactly as it is, or you can make it a little better. Make people laugh, honor somebody, say something nice, give a compliment, make fun of yourself, tease about something, prank about something, kick somebody in the nuts. I don't know what you need to do, but you need to change the energy of that space. Otherwise, what is the evidence that you were here? If we can't leave an energetic feeling. I think about my dad. You know, we lost my dad to acute myeloid leukemia in 2009. And man, the guy had just a tough life when you think about it. 3 tours in Vietnam, 20-year Marine Corps veteran. The guy worked so hard, 20 years for the state of Montana. Had one of the toughest jobs you can imagine. He worked at the DMV. For those outside the United States, that's the Department of Motor Vehicles. That's where you go to get your driver's license. So I grew up going with my dad to work once in a while and seeing people being mean to him, treating him with disrespect. They were mad at him because they didn't like the process of the DMV. They were mad at him because there was a long line because, well, the state wouldn't fund enough employees, wouldn't pay employees enough. And so the process sucked, no up-to-date technology. He's trying to manage the whole thing, and people come in and they forget their paperwork, so they're mad. Or in the driver's test, they run up on the curb and they blame something else outside of their bad driving behavior. And my dad takes it all. I see him just being demeaned and spoken poorly to. My mom, who is French Vietnamese, English was her, I think, 2nd or 3rd language. She is working at a hospital where I grew up, where a lot of people there were mean to her because she sounded different and talked different than them. Because it took a little while for her to process things, because it wasn't her native language, and a lot of those specific words that you hear in hospitals. You know, you've seen how do you pronounce the drug label? How do you deal with that thing over there? It was tough for her, and they were mean to her. And so I grew up watching a lot of people be rude, mean, impatient with my parents. But I also saw them bring the joy. They had jobs that sometimes people didn't like. They had situations and positions that some people would make fun of. But you know what? They were happy. They brought the joy, even when everyone else was mean to them. My dad, my lasting emotional energy of my father was he was like this affable, happy-lucky guy, big Buddha belly who liked to laugh and just have a good time. My mom is, if you ever met her, she's a spark. She's just alive. She's just like this hummingbird of thoughts and emotions running around all over the place. And she's joyous. And I learned from that. And I thought, you know what? I want to be like that. I aspire to be like that. Later on in my career, I saw how peaceful Wayne Dyer was. I saw how confident and strong Marianne Williamson or Tony Robbins was. But what I was really picking up from all of them is their energy. And I said, you know what? Energy matters, doesn't it? So what energy have you been bringing to the day? Have you been bringing, oh, here we go. You walk in the meeting. What do you have to share? What do you have to share? What do you have to share? Is someone taking notes? Why are we always out of the donuts? Are you like showing up, having a good time, messing with people, charging that energy up, not because you need to be the center of attention, not because you're a narcissist, because you give a damn about the energy in which you put into this world. You can leave things better or worse. You can leave things lower or higher levels of frequency in your life. And it's not because you're naturally one way or another. Don't play the card of, Brendan, I'm an introvert versus an extrovert, because A, that's obnoxious and silly and one of the worst excuses. You, if you are an introvert, which I was on every single personality test, is not about, it's like, are you an introvert? It's what is called for you to serve. Yeah, maybe you're not a courageous person either, but if your kid's about to get run over, you're gonna get out in that dang street, aren't you? It's not about how our natural impulse is. You know what? Everyone's impulse is to be quiet and protective and fearful. Everyone has their own way of recharging. Some people recharge around people, some people don't. But it doesn't matter. What matters is when you're around other human beings, are you contributing? Are you being yourself in a way in which it's the best of yourself that would engage, interact, care for other people, be attentive, be present, bring the joy? And if none of that persuades you, maybe go back to the spiritual text or religion or spiritual practice you have and go ahead and find me any evidence that it does not say that one of our ultimate purposes and honoring of our Creator is to live in joy, to experience joy, to enjoy life, to give praise, to have reverence for life. The emotional energy of your day dictates what you're going to do, how you're going to bounce back from things. We know, as an example, those who bring the joy, that ideal in psychology of the optimist. What would we know from all the science? Optimists deal with problems more often. Pessimists say, I can't do anything about it. Optimists, I can do something about it. They engage it. Optimists live longer. Optimists have more resilience. They bounce back better. Optimists cope better with challenges and difficulties. Optimists perform better in almost every field of measurement ever studied in all of psychology. And optimists ultimately not only have all of that, they have greater physical well-being. The science is conclusive. Now, the only question is, are you going to choose to bring the joy? Because you don't have joy, you don't have optimism, you generate it with your thought, with your will, with your own conditioning over a period of time. You can grow into a more positive person, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Enough of the mental framing. I'm just here to say, look at your calendar, almost doesn't matter without these mental frames. Your schedule, your goals, your dreams, your purpose, devoid of this daily mindset, what's it all for? How would it feel? What would you actually get done? These are the most important things. Now, people say, well, Brendan, how do I manage my day, dude? I got a day planner. I got 50 kids. I got an app for that, but I don't have anything that feels like it's moving forward. Simple. One, if you're struggling to move forward swiftly in your life towards any dream, any goal, go back, watch the project planning. It's always going to come back to that. If that sounded too basic to you, I promise that common sense isn't common practice. It's not showing up enough in your life. So what we're going to do is you're going to start your day with a very simple thing. And that is, we are going to start our day revisiting our projects. This is called the one-page productivity planner for my High Performance Academy master's students. You'll recognize this tool with a slight variation this time. All I'm going to have you do, bust out a piece of paper. If you, in the course here, go ahead and download this. This is your day planner. I do this every day of my life. I don't have to do it every day of my life, but it's that discipline that allows me to stay on track longer than others. And that's how I achieve high performance. Same with my clients. So I'm going to think about what are the major 3 projects in my life, and then I'm going to think about what are the 5 moves. And I'm just going to write down the 5 moves for each of these projects. Okay? That's it. That's going to be the beginning of the day. I do this with a blank piece of paper. I have this fancy graph paper I got at like a fancy paper place. Don't you love those places? I can spend a lot of money in those things. So I go in there and I get the fancy paper and I spend like $5 on the stupid pen, the fancy pen, because I wanted to feel like I'm creating something artful with my day. Your day should be a masterpiece, a piece of art. So I go, okay, so I have a piece of paper and I draw this out every single morning. Literally I draw it out. And so I think, what are my major 3 projects? Now you might have 5 projects, major projects, but usually, to achieve a higher level of performance, we need to narrow down and focus on just anywhere between 1 and 5 projects. I recommend not even trying to take on more than 3. This is also an organizational best practice. If you are the CEO of a company, you usually only have 3 strategic priorities. You might put those up here, the big buckets you're working on, the big things, and then what's the 5 moves to moving towards that? That is how you begin your day. It is re-anchoring in the big projects and the 5 moves. So at a strategic insight level, you know where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to focus on. Now, this does not mean, when you fill out this worksheet and use this tool every single day, this does not mean that this is your to-do list. Because sometimes you're not going to work on every project each day. Sometimes you're not going to get to each of these moves at all. We just want it to be on your dashboard. That's why you end up 2 o'clock in the afternoon watching that big, rerun super series of Scandal because your impulse forgot where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. Without a visual frame of reference every day to what you're supposed to be doing, you'll just follow whatever else you see. You need to create this. Start there. Number 2. This second row here, this is what we call your people row. This people row has 2 components, okay? This people row has who you need to reach out to, and who you are waiting on. Okay? This means I sit down there without any other reference point. My inbox is not open. Nothing is going on. I'm sitting with a piece of paper in the morning. I usually have a green tea there. If you want to know my entire recommendation for a morning schedule, just go into High Performance Academy Master's course where I teach way too much detail on that stuff. But we've got hundreds of thousands of people implementing every day. They're kicking butt. So this one's my favorite row, though. This is me asking in the morning, who am I waiting on a decision for? Maybe I got a team member who hasn't got me the results yet. Maybe I'm waiting on, I asked somebody if I could be on their show, I haven't heard back yet. Maybe I applied for the loan, but I haven't heard back yet. These are people I'm waiting on. Okay, so I'll write down their names and just a short little phrase about what I'm waiting on from the top of my mind. Okay? Then I will write over here, who do I need to reach out to today? Well, maybe I want to set up that sales meeting. Maybe I need that affiliate. Maybe I need to reach out to this new potential partner. Maybe this sponsor over here, whatever it is. Maybe I want to work with that person. Maybe I got to call this particular client. And I'll just write down everybody I have to reach out to today. So I'll write that down, okay? That's the people row. Then I'll go down here and I'll write my priorities for the day, which this for you might be considered big things you have to do or small things. This could be your to-do list as an example, okay? Just these priorities, because these happen today. These are tasks or to-dos or your checklist. These must happen today before you go to bed, no matter what, no kidding. That's what these are, okay? This is, sort of for me, like my strategic map of the day. Now, I might have my calendar that will help me inform, like, well, I've got this meeting or I've got this thing. But I try to do this with no calendar or inbox open, just challenge myself to do something that nobody else does. Well, I shouldn't say that. Challenge myself to do that my impulse doesn't want me to do, and what most people fail to do, which is think. One of my favorite things to do with an executive is ask a simple question. How much time in the morning do you spend thinking before the world gets at you, before you check in? Thinking. How much? Do you ever think? Or do you just go through the day, you're thinking on the side? Thinking on the side means, well, I'm washing my hair, I'm thinking, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm thinking. I'm like, yeah. But I mean, just like sit down and think about your projects. Think about the people of your life. Think about what needs to be done. Like, does that even happen for 5 minutes a day? If it doesn't, oh my gosh, you're gonna get the greatest gains of your life now implementing this, okay? So I do this. Once I've done that and it's time to work, I'll go ahead and open up my laptop or access my phone or whatever device I have, and I'll just do a quick check of my email to see, these people I'm waiting on, did they contact me yet? And let's say John, I'm waiting on John to send me reports. I search my inbox only for, I don't answer any emails, I don't look through my emails, I sort looking for John. If I got no message from John, I move John from the waiting on column to the reach out to column, okay? So I look, if they replied, yes, great, I check it off. Anyone who didn't, I move over to reach out to. Then my first action is to send emails or calls out to the people I'm supposed to reach out to. I close my inbox and I ask, what am I supposed to do now? That's it. For those who do not have the practice yet of scheduling when you do your email, unless you are in customer service, in which it's your role to continually be on email answering customers, your job is to stop checking in all day. It's killing you. That's the distraction. If you keep checking in on Twitter and social media, and yes, your inbox, you're screwed. If you're a master's student, you know I've said this a million times, the inbox is nothing but a convenient organizing system for other people's agendas. And if you just keep going in there, you're just gonna keep getting distracted. You need to know outside of your inbox, what should I create today? What am I supposed to be working on? How do I move the needle forward in my life today? Those are as important as, who just emailed me? You are not a gerbil, and you are not responsible for everybody else's false emergencies in life. Your job is to know what you own this day and to move forward. And if you need to do email, block that time. Know in advance. I always know when I'm going to do email. I check in randomly only if it's required of the specific project I am on, but it's pretty rare. Usually I have a block of time I know in the morning, like, okay, based on I got to write today, I got to make that call today, I'm going to have these meetings today, I'm going to go do this thing today, I've got this block time, I've got this workout time. You know what? I'll do email today between 1:30 and 2:30, and that's it. I've got to make that designation and that decision just like you do. And I recommend, if you have a lot of email and you feel obligated to do it, first realize that most email is very easily handled with 4 moves. The first move is you open the email. The first move is almost always delete it. Almost all emails should just be deleted, and you should unsubscribe from anything that is not helping you personally grow, get ahead, or do the work you need to do. Number 2 is delegate it. Forward it, send it to somebody else to handle. Number 3, file it. Put it somewhere, file it if it needs to be dealt with later on or it's a useful resource. And the last thing you should ever do is reply and actually do it. That's it. Once you know that, those are your 4 moves, that's it. Everything gets those 4 actions, boom. You're efficient, you SWAT team it. I want you to approach email as not something you dabble in every couple hours or when you have a moment of free time and you keep checking in. I go, no, don't even look at it until you're gonna SWAT team it and kick the crap out of it. That's when I want you to email. Go, okay, I'm gonna sit down right now. I'm gonna wreck this email. Here we go. Pow, suckers, and you're out. That's what I want you to do. That's how you do email. Otherwise, you are a gerbil on a drip of distraction. There we go. Now, if you will do this in the morning and you approach your inbox the way I told you, first action in inbox is what? Sort it. Did the people you were waiting on, reach out to you? If not, your job is move and reach out column, send all your emails. See, I don't get at the end, it almost never happens in the last 10 years that I finish the day and I go, oh, I forgot to reach out to so-and-so. You ever get there in bed? You wake up at midnight like, oh, I was supposed to send that email? That never happens because I send that first thing. I decide who do I need to reach out to, and that's the first action. And then the rest is all about my priorities with time scheduled to do inbox. It's very important that at least, even if you think I'm crazy, you try this for 30 days. And after the end of the 30 days, when you are 30% more productive each week, which we have proven, after you're 30% more productive each week for 4 weeks, you send me all your extra profit. Just a good idea. I mean, just to be nice and kind. This will help you. You will love it. Okay, you can do all this. Last piece, let me just share with you how I think in the moment. My mental frame is here. My to-dos, the way I handle things is here. I've got thousands of clients who are doing this every single day, and they're the highest performers all around them because they're doing it with ownership, intention, experiencing life, bringing positivity, being organized. They are aligning their major projects up with the 5 major moves. They are prioritizing when new things pop up. They've got their 5 critical criteria to measure on a scale of 1 to 10. Man, they are on the GPS plan. And in the moment by moment, here's how I deal with life. In the moment by moment, I'm always thinking about primary aspiration theory. I want to be fully alive and have self-respect. Be proud of who I am. I want to relate well with others and do work and have relationships that are deep and meaningful. And I want to grow, do things with excellence and a sense of enrichment. That means almost every moment, in some way or another, I'm tuning into this question: what matters? I had this post on Facebook one time I put out. It said, are you responding to the noise or doing what matters? Like 2 million people saw that. It's like, what matters? That's what, in the moment, well, I mean, what really matters? I mean, what really are you supposed to be doing? What would really serve you? What would really bring excellence or enrichment to your life? What would be really great in the moment? Like, see, here's one thing. You walk into your house at night. Your spouse starts telling you about something. And see, because you're used to the gerbil drip, you start checking your phone. Your spouse is telling you about their day, and you're checking your phone. Now, what really matters in that situation? That stupid Twitter thing that you're looking at? That dumb social feed? That email that you don't need to be replying to them. You need to be relating with what matters. See, it's these little choices we make each day. To focus on what matters or to be stuck into the world's noise and distraction. I'm always attentive. What matters right now? And you'll see it me with my team all the time. It happened yesterday. I said, my team was focused on something. I said, that doesn't matter right now. What we're doing right now is this live cast. What matters is the most important thing that's pressing now in front of us. We need to be attentive to that. And when we're there, we need to deal with what matters to the activities at hand. The activity at hand is talking to your wife, not checking your scores. Got it? That's what matters. I'm always like, what matters right now? What matters right now? Because I want to live a life that, you got it. So I call this above the line. When I'm living above the line, everything is good. When I'm always attentive, doesn't mean I have to always be Mr. Meaningful and Mr. High Performer. It just means sometimes, you know what matters? Goofing off. You know what sometimes matters? Free time. You know what some matters? I gotta get myself some green tea, head over to Powell's bookstore, look at 50 books, buy nothing, and goof around for the day. That can be what matters that moment, right? What matters can be petting the cat, because I gotta make friends with the cat because the wife says be friends with the cat. That's what matters in the moment. You gotta figure out what matters right now. If I'm above the line, life is good. There's 2 other levels though. In the middle is this one. I'm attentive to what's scheduled. Okay, what matters right now? But I'm always like, what's scheduled? What's scheduled? What am I supposed to be doing? Right? What matters might overcome what is scheduled. Let me give you an example. If what's scheduled is my workout, but my friend comes in and is having an emergency situation, what's scheduled, that workout, is gone. What matters is my friendship, right? So I allow interruptions of my schedule based on what matters. If your kids come in and they're having a great time and you just finished that call, but you're supposed to send the email, you're like, get out of the room, I gotta send the email. You know what? Calm down. Appreciate the kids having some fun. Take a beat. 1, 2, 3 beats. Slow down the time. Go over, laugh with them. Scoot them out. Write the email. Just take a beat. That's what matters right there. Take some joy of the day. Then go send the stupid email. That's the difference, right? What's scheduled must always be subservient to what matters. what's scheduled must always be subservient to what matters. If you've done the work of GPS, you've aligned these things as tightly as possible. You've planned for these things, and that will serve you. Also, on the second, I call it in the middle, is what's on deck. What's on deck means what's coming up. You know, it's like, it's one of my great admirations in life is our military. Here in the United States, obviously I grew up in a military family with my father, 20 years in the United States Marine Corps. I have a deep respect for the organization and the thought in the precision of our military. And one thing that I've always been impressed by is they know what's coming up. You know, you can walk on a military base almost anywhere and say, you know, what's next? And everyone knows what's next. What are you supposed to, you know, what's happening next? It's like everyone's so clear about the next thing. What's happening tomorrow, the next week? What happens when we pull up to port? What happens when we get off the boat? What happens when we catch the guy? Like everything's thought through, and that's why they're world class. A high level of excellence means you know what's next. So I always know what's on deck. I know, for me, as an example, when I was filming this course yesterday, finished the course, what was on deck? I got to go back and I got to finish chapter 11 of my next book. I knew it in my mind, and that allows me to make that transition without kind of like following impulse. Because if I finish the video, it's like, well, it's sunny outside. My impulse says, it's sunny, it's nice. I got my main man, Travis Shields, right here. There's a place to get a beer right over there. And my impulse would end over there. But that would ruin the schedule for the release of my book, which serves you guys. I'm like, not impulse, intention. What's next? Get butt in car, go home, boil up that green tea, and write that chapter, because that's what's on deck. That's the way I'm always thinking. What matters, what's scheduled, what's on deck. This is living above the line. Below the line, you can see, I said this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. In prioritization way down, number 10 and number 50. These are things that are below the line in my mindset. And I'm always attentive to them, but they mean nothing. They're not priorities. Number 10 is what's interesting. I am a sucker for what's interesting. I'm a sucker. Like for me, clickbait on the internet. Like if I have my phone open and it says scandal, or it says breaking news, or it says, why is she naked? I'm going to click on that thing. I'm in trouble. It's interesting. And interesting for the monkey mind can derail all progress in life. And I'm always attentive of that. That's to me what I call below the line. I know, and I'm like, that's interesting, but I don't go there. It's necessary. Because why? What's on deck, what's scheduled, and what matters is more important than what's interesting in the moment. Beware. Beware. To those who say, geez, that's so structured. What about if something comes up and it can spark some creativity and everything else? I'm like, oh, I create times for creativity, remember? I create times for the free time. Every other time, I'm structured enough so I have more freedom later, and that's important. Okay, way down. What's stupid? These are 4 questions I'm pretty much asking myself all the time. These 4 questions. I would group, I guess it's 5, isn't it? I'm always asking what matters, what's scheduled, what's on deck, what's interesting, and what's stupid. I'm very aware of when I get sucked into something that's stupid. It doesn't last very long because I'm aware of it. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? If it's in a conversation I don't need to be in, I'm like, this might be stupid. Leave it with joy, but I'm out. If I walk into a situation, I'm like, this is stupid, I'm out. I had to learn that from where I grew up because I got in a lot of stupid situations that didn't serve my health, that didn't serve me growing as a person. I mean, lots of dumb situations we all get in. The question is, how fast do we get out of them? You're in a stupid relationship. I think you should end that sooner than later. If you are stupidly eating something, don't eat the whole thing. Be attentive. Look, everyone gets sucked into stupid. It's those who get out faster who succeed more. There's a quotable. Okay. I hope that this served you in looking at how we approach the day. Some of these things are just things you're going to have to listen to over and over and over again until they're in your head. This might be an MP3 of the course that you listen to over and over. Watch this video over and over. Hey, I talked about cats. It's entertaining, right? So make sure you listen over and over and over, because some of these things are called life philosophies. And that's what I've tried to do for you in this GPS program, is help you access a higher level of life, access to your primary aspirations, look at a bigger picture project planning, understand another level of priority management, understand what to do with your week. Here's the blocks. Make sure these blocks are here. And here's a way to approach a day. Here's a way to schedule a day, manage a day, and deal with the moment-by-moment distractions by asking what really matters, what's scheduled, what's on deck. Everything else is a distraction, and if I keep getting pulled in distraction, that's a decision to avoid these two things, which is ultimately irresponsible and unfulfilling. And that is how we manage the high performance GPS system. I hope you enjoyed this module, and I hope you enjoyed this course. Make sure you post your comments and questions down for me. As always, make sure you do me a favor too. Go back and fill out all the worksheets. Do the homework. The videos, as always, these are instructional. They're the cue points, but so much of our great transformations in our life happen when we sit down with a piece of paper, with some thought, and we do the hard work of personal development. I know that's why you're here, so make sure you watch any of the previous modules you missed. Make sure you do the homework, because that was the hard work. And make sure you also do something for yourself. Pat yourself on the back for being dedicated for your personal development. There's a way to reorient your life and get more done, but do it with more joy, slowing down time, experiencing life all at the same time. You can do this. You can have that extraordinary quality of life that you dreamed of, that brought you into this course in the first place. Believe in yourself and do the hard work and stay consistent at it, and you'll reach that higher level of potential and performance in everything that you do. I've been honored to be here with you in the High Performance GPS system. I hope that you'll go with us and graduate and go into another level. Join our High Performance Academy Master's program if you want more advanced conversation about your psychology, your physiology, your productivity, your people skills, your purpose. If you want my most advanced stuff, that's called High Performance Academy Master's Course. I hope that you join it one day, and I can see you at a live seminar, and you can walk up and I can congratulate you or give you a shout out from the stage, and just know that you did a good job, that you reoriented your life towards progress and momentum and fulfillment toward what matters. If I served you in any way in that capacity in High Performance GPS, I can tell you it's been an honor to be here with you and to serve you. And I look forward to seeing you out on the road someday or in the comments somewhere. Until then, as always, my friend, know that you can be a high performer. Do the hard work for it and stay focused and disciplined, and you will be. And as always, go out there every single day of your life. Own it. And as always, live fully, love openly, and make your difference today.